This is Crown Land. I'm on an old forestry road. This is an overnight adventure, a little bit of camping. This could be called simply camping out. It could be called truck camping. It could also be called overlanding, but I will be calling it camping in a clear cut. What's a clear cut? Most commonly known as a cutover, and that's where I'm going to be camping out in tonight. But I'm here for multiple reasons. Follow along. Let's go have some fun. It's currently 18 degrees and I'm loving it. However, the evenings are still quite cold. I have with me my hot tent. I'll be rigging up the stove. I'll be having a fire tonight because the nights are still chilling down and they are calling for some rain overnight. Time will tell. We'll see what happens with that. I may be getting caught in the rain tomorrow when it's time to break down camp and head back home. Creeks are currently very high. It's springtime, and although the runoff is over, we have had an exceptional amount of rain. It's been basically raining for 2 weeks now, and one of the challenges I'm going to have is to find a dry spot to pitch a tent tonight. Hopefully I can find a good gravel area where it's a little bit more elevated. I should be okay to find something. If not, I'll move on. So this is a cutover, or how we call it here in the north, a clear cut. This is from tree harvesting for the softwood industry. We'll cover a little bit more about that later. But here I am. I just thought I'd pull into this one here. This is a pretty recent one. The site has not been prepared and it has not been replanted. I just thought I'd glass over the tree line, around the tree line, to see if there's any wildlife activity of any kind, because I just love to be out here and checking out what goes on. I'm gonna jump back in the truck. I have a lot of traveling to do. We're gonna find a more suitable spot. I saw my first grouse on the road when I slowed down just to take a picture. Lexi jumped out of the truck and chased it down. I'm sure you took note that I'm wearing a blaze orange hat, and that is because on today's adventure I'm also bear hunting. So far I've seen some moose signs and moose tracks on the road, but I'll talk more about the bear hunting a little bit later. For now, we're just going to locate a spot where it's going to be suitable to camp out for the night. I've been traveling for miles, been mapping out some of these forestry roads, keeping an eye out, and every once in a while when I see a clearing, I stop and I glass over, see if there's any wildlife, see if there's any bears. I have not found a location of my liking. Ideally, I'd like to have a spot where I can pitch my tent and park my truck right next to my tent, and I can actually sit in the back of the truck and just sit and watch out into an open area and just observe to see what kind of wildlife is moving around. And I haven't found that ideal location just yet. After much driving around and looking, this is a good spot. I got a nice solid gravel bed, nice and flat. I can pitch my tent right there. Over to my right, there's a lake down below. The terrain drops down and there's a lake. I'm close to a tree line. I can set up on this ridge. I'm right on top of a hill, and I can set up on here and look out onto the tree line and just kick back and relax and just enjoy my time out here. I had one hell of a time putting up my tent. The winds have really picked up, and I had to use every single guy out point there was on that tent on the prevailing side of the wind. The forecast is for rain overnight with winds like this. As beautiful day as it is, when you got windy, gusting wind like this, it's gonna bring in some kind of storm. I'm expecting it. I'm sitting in the box of my truck. I turn the truck around and I'm overlooking this clear cut. The terrain slopes downward down to a tree line, and beyond the tree line is a small lake. So I'm just glassing, and I'm just keeping an eye out for any kind of wildlife activity. But now, oh, this is such a good beer. Everyone, I've said it before, I like to support local. This is a beer from a local beer store or brewery called Stack Brew House. And the Impact beer is one of my favorite beer. This is a red beer, and it has a little story because where I live, which is the Sudbury Basin, the Sudbury Basin was created from an impact. 1.8 billion years ago, a colossal chunk of fiery rock came crashing to Earth, creating the Sudbury Basin. In homage to the blast, this copper-colored Altbier, German for old beer, boasts an aromatic hop presence and a creamy head. A dry finish complements its pleasant malt flavor, leaving you ready for the next sip. This is one of my favorite beers. If you're ever in Sudbury, be sure to pick up an Impact. It's worth it. But now let's talk about a little bit about where I am. This clear cut and cut over. This is for the softwood industry. This is Crown land. Logging companies come in. They have permits to clear certain amounts of forest. That material is then used for pulp, paper, and construction materials such as plywood, OSB, that kind of stuff. Times have changed, and new methods have been implemented, and nowadays clear cuts are more random, more sporadic. There's no more cutovers, or not as far as the eye can see anymore. There will always be random patches of forest left behind, and all this is to help with managing wildlife. You can't, it doesn't eliminate habitat for everything from birds to small rodents. And also the moose population is a big deal to preserve that, and that's why cutovers nowadays they never log all the way to any water's edge. Everything stops within a certain predetermined amount of meters away from any lakes, rivers, ponds, marshlands. That preserves the shorelines for such things as spawning fish and waterfowl and you name it, all the amphibious creatures out there. It doesn't disturb none of that. So things have really moved along in as far as cutting deforestation is concerned. If you don't really care for the softwood industry, well, you know, next time you go to the bathroom, try wiping yourself with cellophane. See how you think about that. If you look over my shoulder, I'm gonna point. See that right there? That one, another one over here. Those are mature white pines. Those are old growth white pines behind me. Typically those big white pines like that, they don't get cut down. they'll cut all around them, and they leave those big mature white pines. They act as seedlers to help regenerate the area. Anytime you drive through a clear cut, you pay attention and you'll see these big majestic white pines. They're still sitting there. Sitting in the bed of my truck, and a loaded firearm is illegal here in Ontario where I live. Not allowed to have a loaded firearm inside your vehicle. It is also illegal to shoot from a motorized vehicle. So should I see something, I have to get out of my truck, then get my firearm loaded, and then continue on with my hunt. Currently it's packed away in the case in the cab of the truck, unloaded. The reason why I'm saying that is because it's very important that you understand the rules and regulations that apply to you where you live. Every year when a new regulation guide comes out for both fishing and hunting, I always go through it for the areas that I frequent, because you just never know when a law has been changed or a new regulation is implemented or altered or whatsoever. That is something I do every year religiously. I go through the regulations just to make sure I'm current with what's going on. The last thing you want to do is get caught doing something that is illegal. Hi, Lexi. Hi, my big girl. That's my pretty girl. Yeah. Lexi has decided to join me in the back of the truck. Primarily, I'm here for a little camp out. However, I've also been talking about bear hunting. Typically, bear hunting is done by baiting. You set out bait and you continue to bait, and you wait until the bears in the area find the bait and they start taking the bait. After a while, the bear gets habituated to that. And a bear has, one of their traits is when a bear finds a food source, it will always go back to that food source. That's why baiting for bear is so successful. Once a bear hits that bait, it'll come back. Once that happens, then you can go out and either from a ground blind or a tree stand, you can camo up. And once you do that, then you can harvest a bear. Myself, I don't do any of that. I buy a bear license and I look for a bear, which is what I'm doing here today. However, if I see a bear and I can harvest it where it makes sense to harvest it, I will. If I don't see a bear, that's okay too. I can roll either way. I really don't care. So I came into the tent to escape the wind, and I was going to cook outside, but because of the wind, so I'm going to move in here. It's a lot hotter than I anticipated it would be here tonight. I don't know if I'm actually going to make a fire in here. We'll see once the sun goes down. It's 20 plus degrees. Right now the sun is beating right on the tent, so it's really hot in here. But now it's time for supper, and I brought an MRE. And for the most part, I didn't touch any of it. It's a 3-course meal, and the first bag I put in there is a meatball in a sauce, I believe is what it said. Marinara sauce with meatballs. Sounds good. I also have a black bean in a seasoned sauce as well, so I'm gonna start with that package. If I'm still hungry, I may have this one. Oh, should be a dessert. Oh, vanilla pudding. Oh, can you hear it? You can certainly see it behind me. That wind is just ferocious. I think it's going to be hot enough. I'm hot enough. I switched into a t-shirt. I had to get that sweater off. It was way too much. All right. Cut the top off of here. Oh, that smells good. Oh yeah. This is what you would expect. Just think of a meatball sandwich. This is a meatball sandwich without the bun. That's what that is. It's really good. Okay, so that sauce and meatball was really good, but I put in the next meal in here because I'm still hungry. And I'm thinking I will not have the pudding. Yep, definitely has a chili kind of aroma. Certainly has a Mexican food kind of aroma to it. It's just okay. It's not great. The meatball was great. This is good. Okay, good. I wouldn't go looking for it, put it that way. Well, wouldn't you know it, the wind has completely died down. And now that there's no wind, I got a couple of mosquitoes flying around in here. But luckily for me, I keep mosquito coils handy. I'll burn a little piece. Amazing, that's all it takes. One day of 20+ degree heat Celsius and the mosquitoes are out. By next weekend, within like 3-4 days, I bet you from now, if these temperatures remain maintained, the black flies will be out in full force. It's that quick. All right, supper is finished. It's packed away. I packed away all my garbage, and I've packed away all of my food except one bag of munchies that I got for tonight. Everything is put in the truck. Ironically enough, I'm here on a bear hunt, so to speak. I'm gonna say that loosely, right? I covered that earlier. But bear prevention, keep your food secure. So if you're truck camping, car camping like I am right now, everything goes in the cab of the truck. Don't leave anything laying around. Don't leave anything in the tent. I have my munchies and that's it. And once I'm done chewing on that a little bit, I'll probably end up going out and putting that in the truck as well. And I want to just mention, when you're car camping, nowadays all vehicles come with a panic button. When it comes to bear prevention, there's different methods, right? You got horns, you have bear spray, you have bear bangers. I have my own version of that. But nowadays vehicles come with a panic button. So keep your keys with you in your tent. If there's something wrestling around outside, hit the panic button. Right? That'll scare the crap out of anything. Just a tip. Next time you're out car camping, keep your keys with you. Here's a little story actually I'm going to share with you. I just thought about this. Long time ago, I was out fishing, and me and a friend of mine, we were using his truck and his boat. We were out walleye fishing, and we were fishing all day long, and we made a killing. Absolutely slaughtered it. Time to come home, we're at the opposite end of the lake from where the truck was parked with the trailer. Crown land, a remote lake, and the fog rolled in. We crossed the lake, but by the time we made it halfway through the lake, a fog rolled in. In a matter of minutes, it was so thick you could cut it like a knife. We cut back the throttle. We couldn't see where we're going. We were just going by guesswork, obviously, because it's a fog. When you're on the water in the fog, your sense of direction is completely gone. It's out the window. And we were just moving along, and I was on the front deck, and I was watching and see for the shoreline. We were anticipating that we were close to the shoreline where we wanted to be, but there was no way of knowing. And suddenly my friend thought about it, and he pulled out his keys and he hit the panic button. Sure enough, we were close enough that his truck started beeping, and we beelined it following the sound of his horn and made it directly to the boat launch, and off the water we went. All was good. So keep your keys with you. The panic button can be used for multiple things. A couple of wild animals have taken over my bed. I'm gonna kick them out. I'm getting the latest update on the hockey game because it's the playoffs. Once the hockey game is done, I'm hitting the sack, and it's still not cold enough to light this stove. I'm just gonna go without it. If I wake up a bit chilly, then I got my lighter sitting right on top of the stove. I just gotta stick it in there, light it, and away we go. It's ready to go, but I'm not gonna light it. I'm gonna wait. Good night, everybody. I'll see you first thing in the morning. I'll meet you for coffee. How's that? Starting the day off right. The rains came last night as I expected, as it was calling for rain overnight. Not a whole lot of rain, but a little bit of rain, a little bit of thunder. However, the wind, oh my God, the winds picked up stronger than I'd ever been throughout the entire day. Quite honestly, I don't know how this tent managed to stay up, because this tent was getting beat in the wind something fierce. It was just ba-bang, ba-bang, ba-bang for most of the night. Yeah, it was bad. It was really bad. I did manage to get some sleep. Eventually the wind subsided, and then the rain came and went, and the sound of the rain was nice. The pitter-patter on the tent. It rained quite heavy at one time, but not for a long time. I went throughout the entire night without lighting the stove. I was quite comfortable in my sleeping bag. It was warm enough. I had some help with the heat, actually. I don't know how they did it, but both Lexi and Riley, at one point last night, they both crawled into cot with me. Yeah, you little... No, that's my apple, not yours. Little shmoo. And the big shmoo. I couldn't believe it. Both of them, both Lexi and Riley, crawled into the cot with me. I was like, no, get out. Get out. But no, the nose was in my face and they were relentless. Once Lexi, she managed to lay down in between my legs, and which pinned me completely. And then Riley, after that, decided he was going to do the same thing, and he crawled and laid on right on top of me. I'm not sure how long that lasted, but after a little while, they both went back to sleeping on their own respective mats on the ground. Oh, here comes the rain again. Packing up this morning is going to be quick. I'm going to do everything under the tent, of course, as you would expect. The tent is pointless for me to pack away nice and neat and prim and proper in its stuff sack. Come here, Riley. You're bumping the camera. There's no point in me packing everything nice and tidy. I have to get this opened up in the garage once I get home to dry off, so I'll be just bundle everything into a big ball, other than my personals, and then that'll be it. So everybody, I think I'm gonna call it a day. I'm gonna finish my coffee and my apple. Thank you for joining. I'll catch you on the next adventure.